as well. There's 32 and 64, and this one's $650 or $699 depending on which version you get. This one is actually the AT&T version, but there is different versions out there as well, so it depends on where you get it, but basically that's your option. And you can also get this in a white color as well, and both of them look pretty nice. The overall design of the phones is really nice. We'll go over the different buttons and things quickly if you weren't aware. Here we have the home button with Touch ID to unlock the device. Really nice and works really well. We have our camera here, forward-facing camera, earphone for the speaker. On this side we have our power sleep wake button, SIM card slot. On the bottom we have our speaker, just one speaker, lightning cable adapter, microphone, and headphone jack. On this side we have our vibrate or silent switch along with our volume up and down, and then our camera on the back, flash, microphone, and that's pretty much it. On the Nexus 6 we have dual front-facing speakers, which are really nice and they work really well. We have a forward-facing camera as well. On the back you've got a camera with a flash ring, which is kind of neat. On the back we also have a microphone. On this side we have our power sleep wake button, our volume button or volume up and down. We have micro USB on the bottom. On this side we have nothing at all. On the top we've got a SIM card slot here, a headphone jack here, and that's pretty much it. Both are really nice devices. Both are really solid. The back on this one is plastic, but this whole surround is metal and aluminum, which is really nice. Glass on the front, of course. Here we have full aluminum. So both are built really well. They both seem to be pretty sturdy. They're both equally as slippery, quite honestly, and they're really high quality designs, both devices. When it comes to specs inside the device, it's no mystery that the iPhone 6 and Nexus 6 differ greatly, and the Nexus 6 really blows it away when we're talking just raw horsepower numbers. The iPhone 6 Plus and 6 have an Apple A8 processor with 1.4 gigahertz, but it also has a quad-core graphics processor with 1 gigabyte of RAM. So the whole system sounds pretty weak from that perspective, but the usability of it really is very smooth and fast, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Now, on the Nexus 6 side, we have a very impressive spec list with a quad-core 2.7 gigahertz processor, Adreno 420 GPU, and 3 gigabytes of RAM. So on that side of things, we've got a lot more horsepower here. And really, both devices are very smooth because of their processors. Both the operating systems work a little bit differently, and a lot of people that know the development side say Android takes a little bit more power and RAM to do what it does compared to iOS. I'm not a programmer, and it would be interesting to hear from someone that is, that could give me a little more information on that. But basically, they're both very fast. Now, before we turn them on, the obvious thing is we've got two different sizes here. The iPhone 6 Plus has a 5.5-inch 1080p display with a very high 401 pixel per inch pixel density. In fact, the screen is extremely nice. But on the Nexus 6, we have a 1440 by 2560 resolution with 493 pixels per inch, but it's 5.96 inches. So it's about a half an inch bigger on the Nexus 6. So let's turn them on. And on the Nexus 6, we can swipe to unlock. We don't have Touch ID, which would be nice. Quick little note on that is that this dimple, according to Motorola, was going to be for such a device, but Apple actually bought the patent on it, and that caused, or bought the company that developed it, and that caused that little bit of problem for them, so they left it out. But it did leave that nice little dimple on the back. Now, you don't get that nice unlock, but what you do get, so if you have an Android Wear device, such as a Moto 360, something like this, sitting around, you can actually pair it with this device, and it will allow you to simply unlock it by being near in proximity, which is a really nice thing to have. Now, both screens look great. They both look great in the sunlight, and I actually took some other footage for a different video I did, and I'll show you in sunlight, side by side. They seem to be about equal. This is very bright sunlight, and they both do okay in the sunlight, but they're about the same. This is an AMOLED display. This is an IPS LCD display. And they're different technologies, and I have to say, to my eyes, I actually like the look of the LCD display better than I do AMOLED, but that's me personally. The colors are a little more vivid on the Nexus side, though. Now, when it comes to actual raw horsepower, I want to do a quick benchmark and actually show you what that means. So we'll just do a simple Antutu benchmark, but let me get that started. We have Antutu running on both. I've got it up to the test part, so let's hit test and we'll just let it run. Now I'll speed this up so you don't have to wait as long. The test is completed for both, and you can see the iPhone ranked in a little bit lower at 47,472, where the Nexus 6 ranked in at 52,345. Now, one of the impressive things is I could go into details and all that, but I just wanted to give you a benchmark, basically, a simple one. One of the really impressive things was I just installed it on this device. Let me show you how many apps are open on these devices running in the background. On the iPhone, there's quite a few open, but there's a ton open on the Nexus also. So I didn't bother to close any of those. I thought I'd show you those really impressive results just by running it like that. So that's pretty impressive with all that stored just kind of hanging out in the background. Now, I know it's not using a whole lot of processing power, but it is hanging out there, and that just shows you how powerful these devices really are today. Now, with that speed test in mind, you can see everything is fluid and fast. Apps open really quickly. If I open Twitter here on both of them, you can see it popped right up on, we'll pass that for now. Let's go back into Twitter. You can see here's some things I was posting. We'll go to the timeline. Both scroll smoothly. We're kind of at a point where both of these devices are just incredibly fast and smooth. There's really no difference. It's really which one do you like better and which operating system do you like better. One of the things, obviously, a lot of people care about is camera on both of these devices. The camera is actually excellent on both devices, and I can't really show you right here. There's tons of options. The advantage to the Nexus 6 is it actually records in 4K, so if you're interested in that, you have that ability, where the iPhone doesn't give you that ability. I find that in most tests, and I've taken quite a few pictures with both, and in other tests I've seen online, surprisingly, at least surprising to me, specs really don't mean anything on the pixel side. You've got an 8 megapixel camera on the iPhone 6 Plus, and you have a 13 megapixel camera on the Nexus 6. But spec-wise, it's really not that big of a deal. It's more about which one takes the better picture after it's taken the picture. And in this case, and in many blind tests, actually the Nexus 6 came out on top, which actually surprised me. I have a couple pictures I took that I took at a local park, so let me show you a couple of those. You can see in those pictures everything looks really nice. Both of them take great pictures, but I have to say, because of the video recording capability of the Nexus 6, I'd have to say this comes out on top as far as that goes, and that's definitely a plus as far as Android goes. It's been a long time, and there's been plenty of other cameras, but I think a pure Nexus device really deserved a good camera, and I'm glad to see they put that in this one. Now, the other thing that obviously people choose their phones for is battery life. Battery is obviously a big concern for a lot of those people that are picking their phone, and the iPhone 6 Plus has a great battery. In fact, it easily gets me through a day, and many people I've heard gets them through a couple days, so that's really a nice quality of the phone. Regardless of the battery size, the actual Nexus 6 has a little bit larger battery. It has a 3220 milliamp hour as opposed to a 2915 milliamp hour battery in the iPhone. However, the Nexus 6 gets a little bit less battery. Now, I found this varies greatly depending on what carrier you use. I started using the Nexus 6 on AT&T, and now it's actually running on Verizon. It's an unlocked phone, so you can see it's on Verizon, and based on probably the towers and things in my area, I actually get a lot better battery on Verizon than I did with AT&T with the Nexus 6. I don't know why that is. It must be the towers, but we really see easily a day with this phone as well. When I first started using it, I had to charge it halfway through the day. That's how bad it was, but over time it actually got really good. Now, Android versus iOS is obviously going to make a big difference. I actually personally use iOS because most of my family uses it, and it's just easier to use iMessage and FaceTime, which I actually use those features a lot, and every one of my family members actually has an iPhone, so it just makes that much easier. However, I could easily use the Nexus 6. It's a great device. I do have to say that the Nexus 6 did have some random reboots regularly for me, in fact daily, and I know that's been an issue with some of them, but I thought I'd throw that out there. Unfortunately, it hadn't been that stable, and hopefully they'll have another update for it soon that fully takes care of that. I'm sure they will. It's a solid piece of hardware. Overall thoughts is they're both great devices. It's really, I would pick them based on, do you want a device with this large of a screen? And if so, do you want Android or do you want iPhone? It's really gotten to the point where they're both excellent. They're both fantastic devices, and I can highly recommend either one. So it's really more about the operating system that you want to use and the features you want available to you. They both have great app stores. They both have great cameras. They both have great call quality. They're both fast and